Hi guys and welcome back, and it's been a while since I last said those words and there's no real good reason for it. I've just been a bit lackluster in wanting to do videos of late, so I do apologise for that. But anyway, this has been a highly requested video. Well, I say highly requested, a couple of you have messaged me going, where's these operator ideas that we gave you some lovely suggestions for last time and you just haven't got around to doing it? And I said it's on my to-do list, and the to-do list has finally got around to being put into fruition. So without any further ado, let's get into it, starting out with Just Too Lucky's idea for the Mexican Special Forces. Now, I do apologise, I'm going to probably butcher the name of this operator, and I do apologise to Just Too Lucky and any Mexican listeners, because I'm going to butcher your language right now. As far as I can say, it's hallucinaire, which is the Spanish for hallucinate, which will become very obvious shortly why he's called that. He is male from Mexico, obviously. As I said, I think I said he a couple times. His primary weapon is an FX-05 assault rifle, and from my sort of brief look on the internet, it looks very similar to a G36C. He also has the option of a second primary, which is an AK-74U submachine gun, which I really like. It gives him sort of the option that Jackal has of having the AR or the submachine gun, depending on which sort of what playstyle you want to play with. Whether it's more a methodical approach with the assault rifle, taking your time, clearing your rooms individually and making sure you get to the objective very safe and secure, or whether you pick up the SMG and just rush in and hope that your gun skill carries you through all of the fights. It gives him quite a sort of diverse way of playing, and I really like that. For his secondaries, he's given a Colt 45, which is a classic pistol, who wouldn't want that, and the Colt Python revolver, which is very similar to the French operator's revolver. A bit more power behind it, but very slow rate of fire. Could reward those very accurate players. Now, for his special ability, he's been given a dart gun, very much like Doc's. I'm assuming it's probably going to come with a red dot sight or something, because you're going to have to be a lot more accurate with it than Doc's, because you're trying to hit enemies that are moving and trying to avoid you. Whereas Doc's targets are kind of lying there going, please revive me, or I really need some health, can you just hit me out, hit a brother up with a bit more healing. So for that reason, I think you probably need something to help you out with the target acquisition a bit more. But when you hit someone with these darts, the namesake comes in here, it causes you to hallucinate and see enemies that aren't there. Whether that gives you like drunk vision, so if you see an IQ in front of you, you see like 3 of her and you don't know which one to shoot at, and you've got to spray out all of them and hope that you hit the right one in the head and not just hit the 2 hallucinations while she sits there going, what the hell's this div doing shooting the wall next to me? I don't know whether it's going to be like that, or whether you're just going to have to sit in the corner for 20 seconds and just hope that your thoughts don't drive you completely mad, and you're going to have to rely on your teammates to go, is there anyone there? Can you check the cameras? I'm not sure. I think there's a doc. I think there's someone running through that doorway there. Can you tell me if he's there? Or is Doc's stim then going to counter you completely, counter this ability to completely? So if you get hit with one of these hallucination darts and you're sort of going, I don't know where anyone is, and then Doc shoots you as well, and it counters it, and you can then see normally, or whether it's just a set period of time that you have to wait before you can see normally again. Along with this gadget, you've been very generous to him, and you've given him 2 different types of equipment. His first one is a sticky grenade, a Semtex, which I really quite like the idea of having a Semtex grenade in. I loved in Call of Duties of old, where you could throw a Semtex and stick it to people and hope that they'd be stupid enough to run into their teammate and you get a double kill with it. Always priceless, very amusing. So I quite like having that idea of, like the idea of having that in the game. I think that was quite a cool idea. And because this operator is a 1 armor 3 movement speed, whether you're going to be able to rush in full pelt into the objective, chuck this on the back of someone as they're still putting up a reinforcement or something and run out and hope that they don't really realise what's going on and run into their teammate and blow up, I think that could be priceless. Or whether you could use it with a very simple factor, they're sort of behind a cover, you can chuck it, stick it on the wall, and it will blow up behind them, either meaning they're going to have to push out from that area and they're not going to be able to throw it back like they'll be able to throw a frag grenade back. I think it's quite a cool idea. As well as this, you've also given this guy sensory grenades. Now, I think these are probably good enough to be gadgets on their own rights. I don't think that he should have this as a secondary thing. I think a flashbang would be more than suitable for a secondary gadget. Not secondary gadget, secondary equipment. I think this would be an incredible weapon, an incredible thing to have as a gadget for an enemy. For those of you who don't know, if you ever played Battlefield Bad Company 2, the Scout class had available to these sensible grenades. And you threw them anywhere you wanted, and then within a certain radius, every couple of seconds there'd be a ping, and it would show you there was any enemies in that area. So his grenades, this guy's grenades idea was you throw this grenade, and the 5-foot radius, every 1.5 seconds, it's a ping, and it will show you if there's anyone in that area or not. I'm not quite sure whether it worked like a sort of sonar or something like that, so you'd be able to see like an outline of them if they're standing outside of a wall or something like that. You'd obviously be able to hear it if you're the defender. I'd assume that's the only way kind of where you balance it out. But I do think that's powerful enough to be a gadget on its own. I don't think that's a necessary sort of, having that as an equipment as well just seems a little bit too powerful. I don't know if you guys disagree with me, but that's my thoughts on it anyway. I'd love to see that maybe just put on an operator as a gadget. If you guys could let me know if you would agree with that or not, well, that'd be awesome. Chuck it down in the comment section below. But all in all, this operator idea, I love the idea of fast operators. They're so much fun to play, and I quite like this special ability. It will probably confuse and daze people. It's very unique, and we we'd never seen anything like it before. It might be very difficult to implement into the game, whether it's just going to be like drunk vision that you kind of get from Echo, or maybe just sort of more of an enhanced version of the drunk vision you get from Echo or Ella. So it just makes everyone look like they're 2 or 3 people next to each other. It just gives that sort of very blurred look. I'm not quite sure how they'd implement that into the game. Could be a mission to implement in for Ubisoft, but I'd love to see this. I think it would be a great idea. So I really approve of this operator idea. Next up is the defender for your Spanish special forces, and she is called Ren, the Spanish for hostage. I hope I've said that right as well. I'm not sure whether I did. For her primary weapon, she has a Winchester 1887 shotgun, which is a classic. You've got to love that lever action shotgun. It's so much fun to use. In any game it's always in, it's great fun to use. Whether it's good or bad, it's just fun. So for that very reason, I love that idea. Her second primary, so she's not just beaten completely at range, she does have a secondary primary as a Uzi submachine gun. Now, this is a bit more questionable, as the Uzi itself has quite a slow rate of fire. Whether you would rather have it like the mini Uzi, which has a sort of ridiculous rate of fire, which we see in PUBG at the moment, it's got like a 1300 rounds per minute rate of fire. Put it on sort of par with the Scorpion, just with a more realistic size magazine, which would make it too powerful. I'd kind of more like to see that rather than have a slow rate of fire like Uzi, which is only, I think it's about 600 RPM rate of fire, so it might be sort of a bit too kind of average, unless it's got really high damage or something. For secondaries, has a Colt revolver again. They're always quite fun, very powerful. If you can get headshots on them, they do look like the sort of pocket snipers of the game. And then for a second secondary, which I really like, I love this weapon. Every game that it's in, very much like the 1887, I love this gun. It's just cool to look at. It's great fun to use. It is the Beretta 93R burst pistol. Now, I'd assume it kind of sits on the similar page to what the SMG11 and the Bearing 9 do. You'd be able to put a red dot sight on it and be able to use it more as a sort of a primary, which would primary range weapon, so you'd be able to use the shotgun more because I keep it in that sort of realm. I think that'd be quite fun. It would be a pretty decent pistol to use. Whether it be overpowered or not would have to be something to be seen, and we'd have to see how it gets implemented into the game. Because it's burst, maybe it would be less powerful, but then again, as you only need one headshot, who knows? We'd have to wait and see. For equipment, you've given them the incendiary grenades and a firework grenades. Both have a similar sort of thing of you throw them and they set things on fire. Now, again, very much like the first operator, I think these would be good enough to be a gadget in their own right. Having another operator very much like Smoke, which gives you sort of entry denial. As you know, if you play Smoke, when it gets down to like 15 seconds and they're not on the objective already, you chuck it at all the doors and entrances, or chuck all his smoke at the doors and entrances, and give them the ability to not run through these doors without taking a load of damage, or if they're on low health, that will just straight up kill them. I quite like the idea of having an incendiary grenade you could throw at these doorways, and it would set the door frame or the floor on fire, so they'd have to run through it and set themselves on fire and take damage from it. I quite like that idea, having someone else rather than just Smoke, because at the moment it's just Smoke. Smoke is almost, if you look at the Pro League, Smoke is always sort of a number one pick for defense, purely because of that ability. Having someone else who would do that as well, I think it'd be quite fun having the alternative option of having that. So I'd quite like to see that just as an ability. The other grenade is just a grenade that sets people on fire and has lots of explosions. Now, I think the problem with having grenades on defense is that the offense have no way of countering them. A grenade like this you wouldn't necessarily be able to throw back, so there's literally no way of getting the grenades back to them. When you're attacking and you're throwing grenades, you've got to watch out for characters like Jaeger, who's going to be able to shoot the grenades out of the sky. So I think giving defending operators grenades like that would be a little bit too strong. I don't know, we'd have to sort of see, I don't know whether, because the damage isn't that high looking at it. So the cluster grenade the initial explosion is 35, and then it fires 3 smaller ones that do 15. It's still going to be a big chunk of damage, and most people aren't always on full health. So there's a good chance it would take a big amount of health off people. So I'm not sure whether that would be a little bit too strong. But I do really like the incendiary grenade, purely just as the one idea for an operator idea. Now, this operator is a 2 armor, 2 speed, and has special ability, tying in with her name, hostage. She has the ability to pick up a downed enemy or hostage and use them to increase her armor, turning her into a 3 armor, 1 movement speed operator. Obviously, should be very easy to track, because once you see a downed enemy being picked up, down friendly being picked up, you can see where a down friendly is. So I'm not quite sure how this would be useful. Also, if you're doing things like this and you're picking the attacking operator up, if they're in communication with your team and you're moving around with them, you're going to be giving them vision of everyone and every gadget and every entrance and things like that. So I think for that reason alone, it would be too weak. On top of this, I don't like the whole premise of it. The idea is, I'm assuming that they're going to have to shoot through their friendly to shoot you. Now this encourages team killing, and that I'm not cool with that. I hate team killing. It's one of the things that I really despise about Rainbow Six Siege, is the ability to team kill. So it's sort of encouraging that to be able to get a kill in essence. I really can't stand that idea at all. So for that reason alone, I'm giving that a big negative thumbs down. I don't know whether you guys disagree. If you could leave a comment in the section below, I'd really be interested to know what you guys think of that. Now, I have spent way too long talking about each of these operator ideas, and I've run out of time. I don't want this video to go on for like 20 minutes, purely for the fact it will take me way too long to upload it. My internet's not that good. Now, I have to admit there are a lot of other ideas that you guys have left, and I will do them in a video very shortly. Now, you can hold me to that. I will do it shortly. My aim for this week is to try and get a video out to you every day, so I should hopefully try and get the next one out within the next week. Fingers crossed. I'm going to do my best to get it out to you guys. But yeah, if you have any other operator ideas that you'd like for me to go over and share with the internet and the world, please leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like rating. If you'd like to see more, subscribe, and I shall see you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now. Bye.